Welcome back to the best book ever. Happy New Year! May this year only get better for us all. Last week, we remembered when Jesus was dedicated to God in the temple in Jerusalem. This week, we're looking at an event usually included with the birth narrative, even though it happened up to 2 years later. Turn with me to Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 to 12. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Messiah was to be born. "In Bethlehem, in Judea," they replied, "for this is what the prophet has written. You, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go, search carefully for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen when it rose went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary. They bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by a different route. If you have attended a Christmas service in recent years where they've spoken about the wise men, you'll probably have heard how there were probably more than 3 men, and they were not kings. You may have even learnt that these myths were popularized long ago based on a mistranslation and the number of gifts given. I've heard various arguments about who they really were, ranging from Babylonian scholars of the sect sponsored by the king of Babylon when Daniel was the group's leader, and often including a significant number of the king's sons, to scholars descended from the exiled Jews who did not return from Babylon and who used the stars to set the Jewish festivals. Both groups would have had access to the Jewish scriptures written up to the return of the Jews from Babylon, but they may not have had access to the most recent portions. I don't know who is right about exactly who these men were, but I do know these men understood the Jewish scriptures and believed what they revealed. They knew about Numbers 24 verse 17, and they used it to recognize the supernatural star they saw, but they did not know about Micah's prophecy. Why do I call the star supernatural? Because if it was a comet or a meteorite, the scholars would have said so. If it was a special astrological conjunction, where the stars come together in a specific way, Not only would the scholars have said so, but it could have been predicted. It could have happened before, and the astronomers can predict when it will happen again. It may be a rare conjunction, but it's not unique. The Bible makes it clear that the star announcing the birth of Jesus was unique and that it moved. Yes, there are wandering stars, now identified as planets reflecting the light of our own sun. But this star was different. The skilled astronomers would have called it a wandering star and would have given it its proper name if that's what it was. This star moved towards Judea, leading the wise men to find the king. Many have wondered why the wise men went first to King Herod. Some theorize they went there because they were seeking a king, and kings are found in palaces. Others have theorized that, as foreign dignitaries, they had to visit Herod or risk imprisonment and death for displaying bad manners, which could be misinterpreted as spying in preparation for war, something Herod would have done. Regardless of how the men came to be standing before Herod, their mission caused considerable upset to everyone who heard. When they said, "Where is the one who's been born King of the Jews?" they were also asking, "Where is the baby Messiah?" Because King of the Jews is a title for the Messiah. The Jewish leaders knew this, but Herod didn't. Herod had been made king by Rome. It was not his birthright. He knew he had no right to call himself king other than the right that Rome gave to him, and that it could be removed easily. He feared people who could steal his crown, and frequently killed his rivals, including his own sons. He thought that if the legitimate heir to the throne in Judea had been born, he had to act fast. He didn't understand that this king was different. When Herod called the priests and teachers of the law, I think he expected his question to be a hard one. Why else would he call all of them together before posing the question, "Where will this king be born?" Was he surprised when the answer came immediately and without any consultation? Interestingly, I've just learnt that the word translated ruler is the Hebrew word moshel, and that this word is linked in Jewish thinking with Messiah, son of Joseph. I'll speak more on that topic in another series. 2 weeks ago, we found baby Jesus was born in a stable. But here, the wise men are recorded as greeting Jesus in a house. These events happened up to 2 years after Jesus was born. But more on that time frame next week. 2 years is a long time. Long enough for the relatives in Bethlehem to forgive Mary and Joseph and allow them to use the guest room. Long enough for the family to begin renting a house and to put down roots. It must have been a surprise when these foreigners arrived at the door, asking to see the new king, and even more of a surprise when their gifts were presented. If you've listened to any sermon on these gifts, you will know Jesus was given gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and you will probably know what they symbolize. Gold for his kingship, frankincense for his deity, and myrrh for his death at a young age. I've heard one sermon where the preacher theorized the three gifts were a test, where the one gift chosen would indicate the sort of king Jesus would grow up to become, and the fact he chose all three proves his uniqueness. These were gifts fitting for the promised priest of the order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek was the priest Abraham met near Jerusalem when it was still called Salem. He was also the king of the city of Salem, and he was believed by the people to be a god. Jesus came as the Son of the true God, King of all creation and High Priest in the heavenly throne room and temple of God. He came with work to do. Next week, we'll look at an event that is almost never taught in church, even though it's included in a PG-rated film called The Nativity. I'll see you then. In the meantime, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this series. But most of all, God bless you. Bye.